It's Thursday and you're watching the Weather Network. Michelle Mackey and Rachel Schoutsen with you. We've got a lot to talk about. Let's dive into our developing stories.
Yeah, this is what's going on today at the Weather Network. Cover up those plants. Frost warnings are in place. Storms with passports. We'll have a look at the American radar, and also so hot and so dry.
All right, let's start with our frost advisory in place for, in fact, most of Newfoundland through the overnight. You really are going to want to take care of your frost-sensitive plants. Now, Rachel, you're going to really love this segue, okay? You ready for it? Speaking of cold, Nathan Coleman is taking a trip.
Okay, let's go to Nate, find out what his next adventure is. Nathan Coleman going on a trip. We will look forward to that. Now let's take you on a trip down through the states, and we can see here, Michelle, this is where some convective activity is over towards Missouri, but we're watching really up towards the north.
Late afternoon, early evening, and you know the drill. The minute you hear thunder, head on inside.
And another thing that we are watching with these, especially when we see the areas that are in isolated and severe hail possible, as well as cold core funnel clouds. Now, must-see, of course, would be a cold core funnel cloud. That would be cool, but this is also a must-see as well. A little hot for the moose, Michelle.
Moose on the loose. This is even better. Who doesn't love animal videos? Animal videos and weather videos are the best kind of videos, aren't they?
They are.
Having some fun in the sprinkler.
You know what, though? On a serious note, you have to cool off in the heat.
You do.
And we are talking about some serious heat. So look at BC. You can see how much we're really warming up here. Look when these reds come into the forecast. And then, especially throughout Saskatchewan, the rain totals have been so low.
It's been such a dry month of May, and a nice ridge of high pressure building into the prairies means through the weekend we're not going to get much rain at all into next week. Hot, dry, sunny. This is what we usually like to see.
And the drought, that's when we really have to think about the forest fire risk if we do see lightning, and of course the crops. For farmers, this is really not good news at all.
And keep in mind, if you are heading out, we are getting close to the weekend. Fire restrictions are in place, so do make sure you head online and check that out. Let's get into our long-range look at what's happening Friday and beyond. That ridge of high pressure I mentioned is moving in.
All right, stay with us, because coming up throughout the hour, the best place to live. We'll tell you that.
Well, looks like fun. Thanks for that, Nathan. I'm Michelle Mackey. You're watching the Weather Network on this Thursday, June the 4th. Evening temperatures in the east. We are going to be a little bit cool, jacket-worthy weather, a light jacket that is. But we have high pressure in place, which means lots of sunshine. But all of the ingredients are right for frost in Newfoundland, and that is why Environment Canada has issued a frost warning. Meanwhile, in southern Ontario, it's been an early taste of summer, hasn't it been? So we decided to hit the streets and ask folks what they like to do in the sun. Yeah, that sounds like fun, doesn't it? Very enjoyable. As we look at our temperatures this evening, Windsor is going to be still quite warm, 23. But then we are watching these showers. Those are going to make their way into southern Ontario by the time we move into tomorrow. Meanwhile, we have an upper level low that's sitting over Alberta, and that is bringing with it widespread showers to the southeast of the province. And on top of that, we're looking at a widespread thunderstorm risk. We have the potential of seeing isolated severe cells as well in this area, and also some cold core funnel clouds. Now, those are not dangerous usually, but if you look up in the sky, you may see some of those funnel clouds, cold core. Isolated severe is a possibility north of Calgary, and as I mentioned, this is all thanks to a low that's going to be working its way east as we move into the weekend.
Glad you're here. It's Thursday. It's June the 4th. Rachel Schoutsen and Michelle Mackey here with you, and these are our developing stories.
Let's jump on in. We are talking about the Duracell truck and charging through disasters. It's also Sun Awareness Week this week, and we'll finish this off talking about the best city to live in.
That's going to be a good one. Okay, but let's get into the Duracell truck. Have a luster providing people with power, and the truck is in our studio today.
Yeah, really exciting. Mark Robinson is going to have a full interview coming up later today right here on the Weather Network. Sun safety, so important. Let's talk about the UV index, because you can actually go online to theweathernetwork.com and find the specific UV index for your area.
Yeah, so this is a look at Moose Jaw here. The UV index is at 7. If it's over 3, it's a concern. So Chrissy Van has been following Sun Safety Week, and here she is. Yeah, great advice there, Chrissy. And buy broad spectrum sunscreen as well. Look at places like this. Look how much sunshine is across the board. You need sunscreen.
You really do. And we are looking at a lot of sunshine this weekend as well. More on that through the hour. But right now, let's check in with Leanna for a look at the best cities. And you know what else you can find on theweathernetwork.com? If you missed our summer forecast on TV, we've got that online, and you can also watch through the day. We'll be re-airing that.
Alrighty, I want you to stay with us because we'll be back just after this short break. Have a great Thursday.
Yeah, parts of Texas and Oklahoma really have been battered, devastated this year. And it is active weather season. Michelle Mackey with you. You're watching the Weather Network. When we look at our radar for today, you can see that a lot of those active storm cells that are very strong are moving into Missouri, but we are beginning to see a more defined line. The SBC outlook today is for the Central Plains, and you can see there is an enhanced risk where we see that bright yellow. But what we are more concerned with is the active weather in Alberta. More on that in just a moment. But first, let's check in with Deb Mediichka. That's right. So a nice weekend in store. But before we get there, we do have this thunderstorm risk that Deb mentioned to contend with. And you'll note that we do have the chance of seeing some isolated severe storms as well. Also, the chance of seeing some cold core funnel clouds. Keep in mind, those are usually not dangerous. Finally, the rain is going to end, but you know what? We actually do need the rain. After how dry this past month has been, it really hasn't done any favors for the wildfire situation in parts of the prairies. So for this afternoon, when we look to Saskatchewan, Manitoba, clear skies, above seasonal temperatures, there's your showers and risk of thunderstorms as we look to Alberta, but things are going to clear as we move into the weekend. A ridge of high pressure is building. Taking you to Ontario, a nice day above seasonal, the humidity beginning to pick up though. Showers in northern Ontario, and those are going to make their way into southern Ontario by the time we move into Friday about midday. We are watching this front slide on through before making its way to Atlantic Canada, sparking off an unsettled weekend. We'll finish with this must-see video. And we certainly are dealing with a lot of sunshine in Toronto today. The UV index is very high, so make sure you wear your sunscreen if you're heading out to the beach. Michelle Mackey with you. You're watching the Weather Network. Let's jump into your forecast details. This evening, if you want to hit a patio, a nice night for that, mostly clear conditions. You'll note that it's a little bit cooler in Toronto, and that's because we're still dealing with that easterly breeze blowing across the cool waters of Lake Ontario. Any plans outside that will extend you through the overnight? Here's a look at your temperatures. When we check in with our radar, clear, high pressure in place for southern Ontario. We could be dealing with some isolated showers along the Huron shores up towards Georgian Bay this evening, but most of the rainfall is still relegated to northern parts of the province. But this is all attached to a low that's going to make its way into southern Ontario midday Friday, tomorrow. And then we are going to be dealing with some isolated non-severe thunderstorms in the afternoon. High pressure is going to sink in for the weekend, so lots of clear conditions on the way, but the temperature is a little bit cooler. I'll show you your 7-day forecast in just a minute. But first, here's how much rainfall we can expect through Friday. And it's good timing. It's before the weekend. Our plants need it. We have a rise in humidity as well. So if you don't like the humidity, by the time we move into Saturday, a lot of that humidity is going to be gone out the window. So if you want to maybe work out outside, that's the day to do it. Sunday, this looks kind of ominous, doesn't it? This map, lots of green indicating showers, but this is going to be an evening overnight story. Most of the day is going to be clear and cool, but then we're watching a system track in Sunday evening through until Monday, and that's going to bring widespread rain, the chance of thunderstorms as well associated with this system. As promised, here's a look at your 7-day forecast. And note that later next week, we really begin to see those temperatures spike up 28 by Wednesday. Again, so any travel plans out west, including BC, it's looking like a really great weekend. As mentioned, there's your low that's making its way into southern Ontario by Friday. And then Friday overnight into Saturday, that's going to become a maritime story. Saturday, the system, I should say, making its way more so into Newfoundland. So if you're going out east this weekend, it is going to be an unsettled one for you. Stay with us. Your local forecast is coming right on up on the 10s. Let's begin our weather story stateside. You're watching the Weather Network. Michelle Mackey with you. We are dealing with some active weather once again through the Central Plains. You can see some very strong cells making their way into Missouri. And this line of systems, also this line of activity, I should say, extends into Alberta. A widespread thunderstorm risk is expected for this afternoon and evening. Hail associated with isolated severe thunderstorms. And we are looking at widespread rainfall, looking at about less than 15 millimeters for much of Alberta. Speaking of cold, Nathan Coleman is taking a trip.
Okay, let's go to Nate, find out what his next adventure is.
Welcome to the Weather Network. It is Thursday. We've almost made it to the weekend. I'll get to your weekend forecast details across the country in just a moment. But first, I want to take you outside our National Weather Network studios here in Oakville and check in with our storm hunter, Mark Robinson. Now, Mark, you're with a very special guest. What's the latest? Yeah, we'll continue to check in with Mark through the afternoon. Let's get to your forecast details. For Friday, you can see those temperatures really picking up above seasonal. The humidity, you're also going to feel that a little bit more than what we're feeling today. And showers are making their way into southern Ontario. This associated with a cold front that's moving through. That same cold front is already bringing showers widespread to parts of northern Ontario. And then when we play out this movie, you'll see that Friday by about midday, that low will push through southern Ontario. In behind it, high pressure sets in for your Saturday and Sunday. But the price we pay for all of that sunshine, temperatures a little bit cooler than what we typically like to see this time of year. And then Monday, we are watching our next big system push into southern Ontario. It's going to begin Sunday through the overnight with showers, and we're expecting between 5 and 10 millimeters of rain by the time it's all said and done on Monday. So here's the next 7 days for Toronto. As mentioned, cooler on Saturday, but if you don't like the humidity, I really like it. Saturday is the day for you. Stay with us. Hello, you're watching the Weather Network on this Thursday. As we look to Friday, our big story, widespread thunderstorm risk through southern Ontario. We'll get to your long ranger right after Mark. Let's get into your national forecast details. Beginning in the east, Friday, we are looking at a gradual clearing, temperatures slowly warming up. And remember, if you want to do some painting outside, ideal temperatures between 10 and 25 degrees, which rings true for much of Canada as we move into tomorrow. Temperatures are going to be warming up through the prairies. We're looking at highs in the low 20s. And this is all thanks to a ridge of high pressure that's building in through the west as we look to the weekend. But an unsettled pattern is on the way for Atlantic Canada.